there's this research about speaking to your plants and how that really does help them. And I've experimented with my fiddle leaf fig in the living room,
Mhm.
like not looking so great. And I gave it a pep talk, and I swear, like, telling you,
Okay,
like,
wait. I wanna hear this. I wanna hear this fiddle leaf fern pep talk.
okay,
Tell me.
it was just like, you're so beautiful, and you just make our living room so much more, just inviting, and I just love having you here, and you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. As I was, because those plants like to get dusty, like, we live in
Mm.
Southern California where like the air quality is not great. I mean, dust is like a thing, like I don't know, like something gets dusty, you know what I mean? Like they're just like big shelves for dust, so I was in there just like
Mhm.
dusting it off and like wiping it down and then spraying it some water. And I was just like, you're so pretty and you're so beautiful. And I've always wanted a fiddle leaf fig plant, and I swear, like in the next week and a half, like 3 new leaves, super shiny, beautiful, you know what I mean? And I was just like, wow. And that was like one pep talk. I don't even do it every day, but when I do it,
That's
when I
so great. I love
do it,
that.
I swear, like that plant is so happy. I hope you can hear me.
If only we talked as nicely to ourselves as we talk to our plants, the world would be such a happier place. Well, today on the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, we are going to talk about creating an evening ritual to increase your sleep hygiene. We'll talk about what sleep hygiene is on the podcast and have a calmer morning. And we're also going to talk about a fascinating thing that we just learned this week called the doorway effect, which is a great way to help cancel out negativity in your life. The doorway effect itself is not a new idea, but this method of using it to your benefit is fascinating and not something I've ever seen before. So get ready for the Harness the Power of Planning podcast starting now. Hey, everyone.
Hi. Hello. Welcome back to our Thursday chat, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We're here every day. I'm Natasha.
I'm Alegre.
And
not here
together,
every day, every Thursday.
did I say every day? Wow.
You did, but I'm sure it was fine.
Every Thursday, weekly, not daily. Sorry. Yeah.
Maybe someday when we get sponsored by Fitbit, my favorite thing ever, then we can be every day.
Or
let's put it out there.
I'm also taking all coffee sponsorships too.
Oh yes, coffee. We like coffee. We like tea.
Coffee company that wants to sponsor. I'm also we're also taking those. We're also taking those. Yeah. So we are Beyond Your Wildest Dreams, or we like to shorten that up to BYWD, and we are committed to helping you prioritize yourself, save time, and achieve your goals. Because that's what we're all about. Because that's what we're trying to learn to do better every day, is prioritize ourselves. But not because we're selfish.
No, not at all.
Selfish. It's not selfish to prioritize yourself. It's because that just makes us happier humans, and then just like better partners, moms,
better in all areas of our
lives. In all areas. Yeah. I'm today as one of those. I know I've talked before about the every 2 months or so, my friend and I go and get a mani-pedi. Well, that's happening later today, and we're both excited because both our kids are, both of us have kids now back in school this week, and we're like, yes, we can do this again, because we essentially didn't do it through the summer, and it's more so about, yes, there's some self-care, but it's also like having that girl time, that friend time, that together time, that place time we can get to really catch up and things, because I can go a long time without a mani-pedi, and I'm not super motivated to go on my own unless event or some kind of thing. I'm going to go on a beach vacation, and I want, so I'm kind of lazy in that way, or at least that's not like a huge priority.
It's just not your priority.
It's not my priority. Yeah. I have friends who do it very regularly. Cool. Awesome. But for her and I, yes, it's a way to like kind of pamper ourselves a little bit, but more she and I are always, she's like, this is more about you and me get together. And
it's your quality time with her.
Self-care and prioritizing. Because something else came up for this afternoon, and I said it, because, we had this on the books. And a little recap on why this works for us. I know this is almost like, because I'm already on the topic, I'm just going to put this in. The thing that has helped us really stay on top of prioritizing this way that we get together and the way that we get to pamper ourselves is by making the appointment with a third party, like the lady at the salon,
Mhm.
when we end our appointment, right? Before that, we had been like, oh, let's just make sure we do it again in like, 6 weeks or something. Great girl, I'll text you. It literally never, it had 4 or 5 months would go by. And we're like, we never did that. So that's a little hack. Involve someone outside of the two of you.
Yeah.
And also
And in
do
the
it.
productivity world, we call that fixing, right? You're fixing this priority as a date and a time in your
Right.
calendar, and it's
Exactly.
much more likely to happen when you fix it.
Absolutely. And then if I have to, like, in order for me to move that, I have to call, cancel, that sort of thing,
Mhm.
as opposed to she and I just going like, when we have time. Because guess what? You won't find that time, right? We've talked about that many times before where like you've really got to go ahead and schedule it, fix it in, make it an anchor. I don't know,
Mhm.
anchor it in there and then, work around it. So that was game changing. We actually now do, now we actually do this now about 4 times a year, essentially, at minimum 4 times a year, sometimes more, but at minimum 4 times a year we do this, and it's really great. It's super, and she and I.
Well, and what I love about the story too is that you've also kind of automated
Hmm.
this appointment by getting into the habit of saying, "Okay, let's do the next one. Let's do the
Yeah,
next one."
right then we book it right then, and the lady now the receptionist there laughs at us because she knows she knows that we're gonna go scrolling through our thing, and anchor it down. She kind of laughs at us because we're always like, ain't gonna happen if we don't plan that now. I know this
Does
is
she
an
laugh at you or does she thank you because she knows
she knows.
money will be coming in?
Yeah, I mean, she's always just got a little smirk, because like I'm sure she has clients that come every week, and we're like 2 months from now we'll be back. You know what I mean? So probably like,
I see, I
okay,
see.
thanks, ladies. I guess um, but yeah, of course she's a lovely person, but she's always kind of like a little smirky, like, okay, 2 months, I'll see you in 2 months. So
You
yeah,
and your raggedy nails.
right, seriously. Oh
My
my god,
nails are so raggedy because I like to garden, so I never get
I I did some
manicures.
gardening yesterday, me too, and I'm just like, and I don't even know, like, I have cleaned under my nails like at least 3 times since I've gardened, and still somehow I'm like, how are they dirty again? Like, I don't even.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I do? Like, there's just like new dirt appearing. I did some repotting of some plants yesterday, because I was avoiding doing something else.
Hey,
Anywho,
well, but gardening is self-care too. There's so much research on how good it is for our mental health. Just even like the microbiome or the, inside the dirt when it
mm,
touches our skin has been shown to be
yes.
good for
Oh,
us.
for real. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. For sure. Like, and even just, I'm not even like gardening. I'm just like talking about repotting some plants. And then, there's this research about speaking to your plants and how that really does help them. And I've experimented with my fiddle leaf fig in the living room,
Mhm.
like not looking so great. And I gave it a pep talk, and I swear, like, I'm telling you,
Okay,
like,
wait. I wanna hear this fiddle leaf fern pep talk.
okay,
Tell me.
it was just like, you're so beautiful, and you just make our living room so much more, just inviting, and I just love having you here, and you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. As I was, because those plants like to get dusty, like, we live in
Mm.
Southern California where like the air quality is not great. I mean, dust is like a thing, like I don't know, like, so that thing gets dusty, you know what I mean? Like, they're big, they're just like big shelves for dust, so I was in there and just like
Mhm.
dusting it off and like wiping it down and then spraying it some water. And I was just like, you're so pretty and you're so beautiful. And I've always wanted a fiddle leaf fig plant. And I swear, like in the next week and a half, like 3 new leaves, super shiny, beautiful. You know what I mean? And I was just like, wow. And that was like one pep talk. I don't even do it every day, but when I do it, when
That's
I
so great. I love
do it,
that.
I swear, like that plant is so happy. I hope you can hear me. Consider this your pep talk. um, yeah, I'm telling you, like, it's wild. It's wild. Wow, love makes things happy and grow.
Mhm.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, I mean, everything's energy,
Mm,
Einstein said, so you're giving that plant good energy.
yeah, and that plant gives it back for sure.
There you go. So for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, we usually have a little chit chat at the top and then we get into a topic. Our topic today is creating an evening ritual to support sleep hygiene and a calmer morning. And we're going to get into it soon. However, I learned something new this week that I've been saving for today because like when I heard it, it was like, and so I wanted to share it here. And have you ever heard of something called the doorway effect?
Are you kidding me right now?
No. Did you hear about it recently?
Like 2 days ago, I looked it up.
Oh my God, me
Because
too.
somebody mentioned it in some, I don't know, some reel I saw or something. What is happening?
Okay.
That's so crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
the doorway effect is, and I'm just going to read this definition. The doorway effect is a psychological phenomenon characterized by short-term memory loss when passing through a doorway or moving from one location to the other. So, you know how people say, I walked out of the room to the kitchen to get something, and then I forgot what I went to get.
All the
The
time.
doorway effect can be partially responsible for this.
All the time.
All the time. However, the other thing I heard was a way to use the doorway effect to your benefit. Did you see this too?
Yes. This is the whole
Oh
reason.
my God.
This is the whole reason I looked it up, because they were saying use it. What is happening? This is crazy.
We're so aligned.
For real. Yeah. So go ahead. The flip side of this. How can you use this to your advantage? Like, where's the
flip side of this? Yeah, the flip side of this. And this is something the video I saw had Michael Phelps talking about it. So when he is struggling with anxiety, he will use the doorway effect to his advantage by, when he has a negative thought, he will walk through a door and he will say an affirmation so that it'll help his brain dump the negative thought and then plant the positive thought.
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
I thought that was a brilliant combo, because the doorway effect, like, okay, that's interesting. But then to use it in a proactive way to dump negative thoughts.
It's crazy. Yeah. Because I've attributed that to, old age. Like, I walk into the kitchen, I can't remember what and then you go back to where you were and you're like, oh, you'll remember it. And hopefully by the time you come back again, you remember it. But yes, I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, that is an amazing way to use this phenomenon that is researched and exists and is not like,
it just happens.
It's a thing that happens, and our brains just already behave that way. And if you followed us before, you know that we're total brain science nerds and we love using it to our advantage. And this is definitely one of those things. This is so funny you bring this up, because I was literally going to say, Alegre and I should talk about this. That you can use that to your advantage. And my younger son is having a little trouble right now with there's a lot of transition. Like, he's sleeping in his own room for the first time. And so he's getting really anxious come bedtime. Right. And I was thinking to myself, how can I maybe guide him in using this doorway effect idea to help shed, it may not be as easy as that. I'm not really sure, but it's worth a try. Right.
Definitely. So I think you and I should experiment with this, and it can definitely be a topic of an upcoming podcast. And we could talk about how our family has experienced it, because I definitely want this to become something that our family uses and, experiment with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you out there never heard of the doorway effect and are so happy now that there's a name for forgetting what you went to the kitchen for your scissors or whatever, and maybe you feel a little better knowing that this also happens to Michael Phelps, who is a decorated Olympian, and it's not just old age or whatever. So if that's a new concept to you, please jump in the comments and say that. And then also, if it's not a new concept, have you used it as a way to, kind of cancel, delete, and have this new thought come forward? You're replacing it with this other, idea when you have a negative thought, or that's really kind of amazing. Yeah. So have you tried doing it? Have you
I haven't tried doing it yet. Oh, we have a comedian here who says that we should remove all the doorway frames in our house so that the doorway effect won't happen anymore. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah.
Vishant.
that's remove all doorway frames in your house. I mean, that is also a way to combat that. And then I was thinking,
Yes.
funny because I was thinking that too. I was like, okay, so if this is something about how our brains work, like did cave people, like when they left their cave, like be like, oh, what did I come out here for again? I was gonna kill that saber-toothed tiger, but I, you know what I mean? Like I was just wondering, like, has this been something that's been part of our development for forever,
Well, I
pre
mean,
doorways?
I was an anthropology major in undergrad, so I always try and relate things back to how we evolved. And, there's many periods in our lives where your brain goes through pruning periods where it prunes information that it doesn't need anymore to make
Mm,
space for other information. And
hmm.
given the fact that, as we've discussed before, your brain takes up 2% of your body weight, but uses 20% of your calories,
So crazy.
I'm guessing your brain is just always looking for reasons to dump information, and so
Yeah.
it probably considers a change in location as, "Okay, new things to look for." Because really our brain's number 1 concern is keeping us safe, and when we're in our home or in a room that, that's one thing. It's thinking about the things that are going on, and once you feel safe, it kind of turns off, and you can think about other things. But then when you move to a new location, your brain probably goes into, "Okay, wait, is this safe? I need to check this out first."
Right, like just dumps, yeah, completely. It's like we're out of that environment. No
Yeah.
need to hang on to that information. Yeah, yeah, interesting. Really, really fascinating. Really,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
What?
so we'll come back to this topic because it is so up our alleys. And by the way, if you want to follow all the things we do, we send out weekly newsletter, we send out free printables. Go to bywdreams.com. That's beyondyourwildestdreams.com, bywdreams.com. And yeah, stay up to date with everything that we've got going on. But now for our topic.
Yes. Again, this couldn't be more timely. Aside from that, the last topic being something that was just synchronized, this is super timely. We had a rough morning, and it's only the
Mhm.
fourth day of middle school and high school, and it was a rough morning. It was a rough morning. Yeah. So
Mm.
let's get into it.
So we're talking about creating an evening ritual. So if you're familiar with our bouquet of books, you know that one of our books, Rock Your Morning, is all about taking control of your morning by having a morning ritual. However, we do discuss in the book the benefits of an evening ritual to support your morning ritual. And so we're going to focus right now on an evening ritual in order to support something called sleep hygiene. Now, what is sleep hygiene? Sleep hygiene is all about ensuring that you set yourself up for a good night's sleep because when you're sleeping, that's when your body and brain, right, your whole body, your brain is part of your body, but I'm just saying body and brain have the chance to repair themselves. And studies have shown actually that there are different stages of sleep. Your brain actually locks in different memories depending on what stage of sleep you're in. And studies have shown that if you're not a deep sleeper, so apparently light sleep is when you lock in bad memories, but
Ooh.
deep sleep is when you lock in positive memories and learning. So, if you know someone who struggles with sleeping deeply, they may also tend to have a more negative recollection of the things that went on in their day, and also they might have difficulty cementing any learning that took place that day. So, they talk about how important it is to really ensure that your sleep is going to be good by having a ritual that prepares you for sleep. Okay, so what can some of the things be in your evening ritual to do that? Well, one of them is something we talk about all the time, which is making your bed.
Mhm. Which seems crazy, but it really does.
Yeah, because making your bed is something you do in the morning, and it takes me less than 30 seconds to make my bed because I have a pretty simple bed layout. And however, they've shown that when you unmake your bed, it actually primes your brain for a better night's sleep because you're sending a signal like, "Oh, I'm getting ready for bed." Now, here's the thing. It's possible to kind of undo that benefit if your brain starts to associate doing other things besides sleeping with your bed. So for instance, if you're scrolling or watching TV or doing anything else that is really stimulating for your brain, then you're kind of undoing your sleep hygiene
Right. And
routine.
so, as you know, this is not news. Like having a screen curfew, a hard no more screen time, is a huge help to having a better sleep diet or a sleep routine or hygiene.
Mhm.
Uh, Especially the blue light situation, right? Which helps, which inhibits the release of melatonin and doesn't help you have a good night's sleep. So for sure, not having screens in your room, right? Not having a television in your room, or and not having, your phone or your iPad or whatever in bed with you. My kids, they have watches, but those get charged outside of their rooms because I don't want them to be tempted to get on and, like,
Yes.
wake up and text a friend or what. I mean, they're not going to be doing that at midnight, but who knows? Like, I just don't want them to be tempted to do that. I struggle with that. I struggle with making sure I don't have a screen near me. I experimented this summer, with charging the phone in a completely different part of the room, like a way far away from my bed,
Mhm.
because I've made the excuse to myself before. I'm like, oh, I really like to have some kind of meditation track or sleep, binaural beats to help me fall asleep, that kind of thing. And I've gotten myself into the habit of listening to something as I fall asleep, but I have lied to myself and saying, oh, I'm just going to go look up this little YouTube video that I've used before that has helped me fall asleep, and put that on and then use that to fall asleep. And next thing I know, I'm in shorts and I'm whoop, whoop, whoop. So, like, that
Mhm.
has, you know, um, when I keep my phone charging way far away from my bed, well, like either in the bathroom or like just the other side of the bedroom, essentially, lo and behold, I'm able to go to sleep. And I just use these Bluetooth headphone eye mask thing, which is like my favorite thing on the planet. Um,
So your
you know,
phone can be outside of the room, but you
yeah,
can have your thing playing.
these things are amazing. It's $20. It's a full eye mask. I'm very light sensitive too. So, like, if I don't have an eye mask on, I wake up at the first little sliver of light that permeates the room. So I'd be sleeping with an eye mask regardless. But they also have these flat, comfortable Bluetooth speakers. And I'm sure it's probably not great to be sleeping with Bluetooth speakers next to your head, but way more comfortable. I was doing AirPods at one point, which is a horrible idea because your ears are not meant to do that, for that long a period of time. And it's super comfortable and it works really, really well. I still get to have that in my ear. Still get to have those binaural beats, which help me fall asleep. And I don't need to have the phone in my face, which doesn't help. Which, like,
Yeah.
literally keeps me awake. Like, it's not even like, oh, you get bad sleep. Like, I will stay awake way longer than if I just close my eyes, and put that screen far, far away. I'm asleep quickly. If I have the screen in my face, it could be hours.
So try to turn off your devices, not expose yourself to a screen at least 60 minutes before bedtime, if not longer, but at least 60 minutes to allow your eyes time to adjust to the natural light around it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one part of sleep hygiene. Making your bed is another part of sleep hygiene. Another thing is some of us need a longer wind down period than just, "Oh, I'm going to bed."
Right.
So for me, personally, I am not someone who needs a long wind down period. However, I will say that I have noticed that my sleep is better when I do have a longer wind down period. So I sleep well without a wind down period, but I did start doing this thing where when I'm doing my nighttime skincare, I play some ambient music and I light a candle, and I have found that the ritual of the candle and the music, it just calms me down even more so that when I do get into bed, I'm just out and I'm sleeping deeply so much faster. So even if you're not someone who needs a long sleep ritual in order to get to sleep, you might want to experiment with a slightly longer sleep ritual and see if you're getting better quality sleep because better quality sleep has also been correlated with better cognitive health because, as we mentioned, that's when your brain's repairing yourself. And this is so important if you are, especially if you are a, perimenopausal, postmenopausal woman, because there are a lot of cognitive decline issues associated with the change in hormones. And if you're experiencing it, then you know that sometimes those changing hormones affect your sleep. And so you really need to do everything in your power to make sure that you're sleeping well so that your brain has time to repair itself. So that would be the other thing, is figure out what sleep ritual works for you. Maybe it is, like I said, some skincare where I'm touching my face a lot, which is stimulating good chemicals because it's kind of like giving yourself a hug with the candle and the music. Maybe you want to take a bath. Maybe you want to do some light yoga or stretching, or I've also been doing more muscle hooking, rolling, that kind of thing, because my muscles have been getting tighter as I'm older, and just having those be more relaxed makes me more relaxed. So these are all the things that you can do to ensure your sleep hygiene at night.
Yeah, very helpful. Super helpful. I love the stretching is is definitely helps me feel ready for bed. That's definitely a thing that makes me feel just a little sleepy sometimes. You know,
By the way, do you do PNF stretching at all?
I don't know what that is.
So that's something that I was reintroduced to recently. I remember hearing about it a long time ago, but I used to be very flexible. And so anything that increased flexibility, I kind of was like, I'm okay. However, I am a lot tighter now. My muscles are a lot tighter now. So now I'm paying attention to all these things because I'm
Right.
like, oh,
Right.
I need it now. So PNF stretching, just type it in P as in Paul, N as in Nancy, F as in Frank. It's a method of stretching where you activate all the muscles surrounding the muscle you wanna stretch, and
Okay.
I haven't gone deep into the physiology of it, but apparently when you do that, it actually loosens the muscle, and then you stretch further, and I'm not kidding.
Ooh,
I was getting 4 inches deeper into a stretch
no way.
within the span of a minute from just doing this PNF stretching. Yeah,
Oh,
I was like, this is you know what I love? I love counterintuitive wisdom. Where you're like, why would I stretch better by activating my muscles? Like, I don't know, but it works.
interesting.
So,
So like, so basically putting the muscles around it in an active position
yeah,
or
so okay,
Mhm.
so I was stretching my hamstring. So I'm lying on my back, right? My leg is up. I have my hands clasped behind my hamstring, and I'm trying to pull my knee as close to my face as possible. And usually I do that kind of loose. And so my leg might even be like a little bit bent. Well, in this stretch, the instructor said, straighten your leg, flex your foot,
Mhm.
have your toes pointing as aggressively towards your face as possible,
Okay.
flex your quads, tighten everything in your leg. It's kind of like, when they say relax your face and they say relax first, scrunch up your face
Yes.
really, really,
Yeah.
really tight and then relax it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's kind of
totally.
like that. It's kind of like that.
Yes. Okay, that sounds familiar. I think that I did have like a stretch therapy session with a
Mhm.
amazing dancer friend of mine who's also you know, stretching physiology expert, and she was doing that. I didn't realize that's what it had a name for, but she was having me, go ahead and activate other muscle groups while she was physically stretching me. And amazing session. She was great. Uh
Yeah, it's
yeah,
called proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, PNF.
PNF. Yeah, we'll be calling it PNF.
Yeah,
Um,
and I
cool.
was shocked at how deep I went into the stretch and how quickly I went into it. So, okay, some other tips, and this is from our book, Rock Your Morning. This is from the chapter on creating a morning ritual to help set you up for success for your morning ritual, right? So, if possible, pack up anything that you might need for the next day and put it by the door. Because the thing is if you have in your brain like, "Oh, I need to go to that meeting and I need to be sure to grab the handouts on the whiteboard," that little bit of that thought is just gonna be in your brain all night long, spinning, so you don't forget it. So better to just do it and close that tab and know that it's by the front door. And this is actually something I'm really actively working with my kiddo, is to not touch her backpack in the morning because she knows she's already packed it all up the night before and it's done. And I'm really trying to get that habit down because otherwise then you're like, "Wait, where's that thing?" And you're supposed to be spending time getting dressed and feeling calm, but you're too focused on whatever the thing is that you can't stop thinking about. So,
Right. 100%. Yep. There's a marked difference, huge difference when I make sure that all the things that's ready for them, or they've done all the things that they need to have ready for the morning, as opposed to, scrambling for it in the morning. I mean, huge difference between
mhm.
how our morning unfolds.
And
Yeah.
so that can include putting things you need by the door, that can be include prepping your coffee or maybe prepping a lunch for yourself to take the next day and just grab it from the fridge rather than having to get
Mhm.
it together in the morning. And that can also include picking out your clothes,
Yes.
which is something that I'm having my daughter do
Yeah.
with school.
One of them's really into it. One of them is like, "I'll just do it in the morning." But guess what? He's the one who's the most tired. He's the one who drags his butt getting out of the bed. So he's the one. The other one is ready and has actually just been doing that on his own for a year at least already. But the other one is he did it for like the first 2 days of school, but did not
Mhm.
this morning. It just yeah. So just getting into that habit and
Saves
um
so much time.
if you listen to I think it was not last week's episode but the one before, the Thursday before, where we talk about like daily trackers or weekly trackers or that kind of thing. um we uh we suggest, I talked about the trackers that I use for my kids, and I did a preliminary one for this week just to see the things that I put on there, to see what gets tracked, and
Mhm.
also to see where I was kind of joking 2 weeks ago, just saying, "Oh, I put it all on one tracker now. I used to have an upstairs tracker and a downstairs tracker, and it looks
Right.
like I'm going to have to go back to that." So I didn't
Mm.
laminate my tracker this time yet because I was like, "There's going to be changes. There's going to be things that I'm going to switch around and prioritize. Oh, these are things that they're already doing. I don't have to put a tracker on that. But oh my goodness, this other thing that I'm finding myself asking about every morning needs to get
Right.
on there." So I've been putting notes on it and so forth. And it looks like I'm going to have to split up the tracker like I did when they were like in early elementary school, which was like, there was a very simple one that was like, "Don't go downstairs until you have, done these things," right?
Mhm.
And it looks like I'm going to have to do that. So I'm just kind of shifting things around a little bit and making sure that, that some evening things that happen upstairs need to get tracked, whereas I had them on the tracker downstairs. And guess what? They get missed. And one of those is
Right.
putting out your clothes the night before. That needs to be upstairs. That needs to be up where the clothes be
Right,
put
where the clothes
out.
are.
Yeah. So, and so feel free to pivot, see what works, what doesn't work, things that, need some adjusting, of course. And that is why I won't be laminating anything for probably another week. So when I've made this change, splitting up the trackers to upstairs, downstairs, we'll see how that goes next week. And then after that, hopefully I'll get to laminate and we'll switch over to dry erase no markers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And there's experimentation coming up with your whatever evening ritual supports your sleep hygiene and your calm morning. There's gonna be experimentation on your part. What works for you, what doesn't work for you,
mhm.
what's essential versus what's nice to have. Because there are nights when I stay out late doing a comedy something, and I don't get to do my music and candle skincare routine.
Mhm.
But that's not a must, that's a nice to have,
Yeah.
although
Yeah.
I feel like it's starting to become a must, but anyway, I don't do that many nights a week, so and
Nice.
then another idea is journal writing, and writing about both the positive and negative experiences of the day or maybe something you've learned that you wanna process. For instance, when I heard about the doorway effect, I wrote it down immediately because I knew it was something I wanted to keep, and, brain science shows that when you write something down, you're much more likely to remember it because there's this connection between your hand and your brain. So, it's a great way to process things. If there's something that is bugging you about the day, get it into your journal so that you're not lying there stewing in bed. Get it
Oh,
out so that
yeah.
you can relax.
That is a huge, that's a huge asset to like not have something stewing. Oh my goodness. That's
Mhm.
a great tip. Hmm.
So just to summarize, our tips for creating a evening ritual so you have some good sleep hygiene is the tech curfew, prepping for tomorrow by putting things by the door or picking out your outfits or whatever, engaging in relaxing activities such as a massage, self-massage, a shower, maybe a cup of tea while you're doing skincare, whatever, and then journaling. So those are just some ideas for creating your own evening ritual so you can sleep better and have a calmer morning.
Yeah. Hopefully you do. Hopefully everyone in your house does. Hopefully everyone gets on the same page with doing an evening routine to help the mornings go more smoothly. Let us know
So
what
thank you.
comment, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, so comment wherever you're watching. And as always, if you want to hear the audio only portion of this, it will go up as the next episode of the Harness the Power of Planning podcast, which you can get wherever you listen to your podcasts. And to follow us and get our emails, go to bywdreams.com and sign up for our newsletter. Dream wild, wild dreamer. Thanks for joining us for the Harness the Power of Planning podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen.